public comments.
I don't have numbers.
Are you gonna read those or?
It says you're live.
It's what?
It's
live.
live.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, let me go print it real quick. Behind the camera.
Okay.
We met, there's a committee that meets to reopen the city.
Yeah.
And we meet, and everyone does wear a mask there because we have some people that really, they have compromised systems, including our mayor. On it, and so we're very careful, and I wear it around. Sometimes I put it on if people, if it makes them feel more comfortable, I'll wear it. And if I don't think I'm gonna be breathing anybody else or breathing on anybody, this about suffocates me, which is fine as well.
See that?
It's just
That's
us.
like a phobia for me.
It's just us. You do it.
No face.
Got it.
You do you.
Yeah.
I can't.
I appreciate you guys coming.
Glasses.
That was so hard that last meeting.
No, it was
Yeah.
tough. It was tough. So this is definitely a good way to go.
We had a Kiwanis board meeting, not this week before, and we tried to do it with a phone conference. Oh, it was terrible. It was so hard. You never did. Everybody talking over each other, and
Oh, yeah.
it was just tough.
Hey, I'm coming in.
We've had to set up, I signed up for the city, our screens for the council meetings to do via Teams they use in the city. But that was a pain too, because they have to allow people to call in. And then
So how much we did
you invite them in, there's a whole process.
You usually do.
Yeah, it's tough.
Where do I get it?
All right.
You had COVID.
We're giving virtual hugs. I am.
Yes.
Okay, everybody's here. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. First thing we have is the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Austin.
Aye.
Dottie. Aye. Graver.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Lucky.
Aye. First thing we have is District Community Spotlight, WellCo grant presentation with Julie Cuddy.
That's me.
Welcome, Julie.
Thanks. I have a nice little PowerPoint for you, but I think because we haven't been using our equipment, the projector isn't turning on. So, but I did a PowerPoint just so I would stay on track and I wouldn't take so much time. So, but I wanted to share with you tonight just a little bit that's been going on with WellCo. And the one thing that I wanted to show you is that we received a grant, and I wrote it for the Colorado Health Foundation. And it is a $80,000 grant, so it's $40,000 for this year. I have a picture of the check here. And $40,000 for this year and $40,000 for next year. And so I wrote that to the Colorado Health Foundation, and they came and did a site visit here, and they like all the things we are doing, which includes something I'm going to talk about just at the end about our student wellness team at the high school, and also that we're really concentrating in our new wellness plan about mental and social health for our students. So those were all the things that were written in the grant. I think you have a copy of the grant, correct? Yes. For your leisure reading, you can browse through that, but it really coincides with everything. This is just what it is.
Okay, sorry.
it really coincides with everything that we are focusing on as a school district. And so I'm really excited that we got it done. And that's what brings me to the next part, is the Woodland Park School District Wellness Plan. It was part of a commitment that we had to do for the Colorado Health Foundation for a grant that was previous, that we just finished up. And that was a $38,000 grant a year. And we just finished up, but part of it is we had to have a new wellness plan written by February 2020. And that's what you have. I started it last year when I started doing this job, and we started out with a task force, which included people from the hospital, firefighters, policemen, administrators, parents, people from the community. I tried to get everybody involved so they all could be stakeholders in this wellness plan. And so we started writing and rewriting and proofing. Then I presented it to the task force and to our Woodland Park Wellness team, and that consists of parents, and some are the same. And we X'd out things and we really, really worked through it. Then I presented it to Tina Cassens, who is my boss, and she did some revisions because, of course, I'm always pie in the sky girl, and I want to have, you know that about me, Beth. And I'm always adding way too much and saying way too much, hence why I did the PowerPoint. But anyway, then she did some revisions, and she's a wonderful writer, so she did quite a bit of revising, just saying, you can't be putting in that we're going to do art for staff, because what if we can't afford to do it for the next few years? So just put in, we're doing staff wellness. And that's where we kind of left it there. And then another part that the Colorado Health Foundation asked me to do was to present this to our school board. So that's one of the reasons I am here today. The next thing is the new wellness plan The new wellness plan concentrates on nutrition. Also, it concentrates on the students moving and getting exercise, which you know I'm always a big proponent of. But it also, the biggest thing it is concentrating on is mental health and wellness for our students, and also for our teachers. We added that in also. And boy, with all this that is going on, couldn't be better timing. So, and like I said, I think it's written well. It has been sent off to Rocky Mountain Health, and it's also been sent to the Colorado Health Foundation. And Tina's, after we meet today, and we're going to upload it to our Woodland Park. Website. Yes, website, yes. I messed up here because I can't get back to where I was supposed to be. That's not good for me. Okay, but it takes a village, and that's exactly what this wellness policy did, plan. It takes a village, and like I said, I had all these people come and be part and voice their opinions, which I think really makes it a valid document. And without the whole school, whole community, whole child, and a collaborative approach, we wouldn't have such a nice document. So I'm very proud of it, and it was a real learning experience for me. The next thing I'm going to talk about is our Woodland Park. Oh, well, a couple things else I wanted to talk about the wellness plan was the task force. We use data from Healthy Kids Colorado and also from Smart Source. And some of the places that we were lacking, especially in the high school, is students said that they were skipping breakfast. They're not getting enough sleep. So we really looked at those things when we were writing this wellness plan. And it also aligns with our mission statement, our vision, and strategic objectives for Woodland Park School District. So we really tried to keep all of those things in mind when we were writing this. It's been proven that students who are healthy and well do better educationally, and their learning potential is better. So just a couple things there. And then that we're also raising productive lifelong students, and we're concerned about their mental health awareness. And that was really what we really had a lot of discussion about, because in, again, Smart Source and Healthy Kids Colorado, Woodland Park doesn't do too well in that area. So that's why, as a school district, we're really concentrating on those areas. And also employee wellness. So, take some time to read through it. And if you want to give me some feedback, you know where to find me, jkedden@WPSD12.org. The next short thing I want to talk about is when I went to the Rocky Mountain Health Coordinators Conference, they challenged us to write a success story that has happened in our district. And when I became the coordinator, I kind of changed things, and we don't have as many meetings, and we do more work sessions. And the one thing that I really wanted to focus on is I wanted more student input. All of us can sit here and talk about everything, but if you don't hear it from the students and what they're feeling and what they're wanting, then I feel like you're really missing something. So the high school jumped right on it, Kat Becker and Nicole Cherry, and they started during their advisory time, they started student wellness team. And during that, and you have a copy of my success story, and during that, they promote voice, leadership, healthy choices, self-care, healthy nutrition, exercise, advocacy, meditation, journaling, and cooking lessons. And now that they haven't been seeing these students, they've added on to it, and they've been sending them links on meditation, on recipes for healthy snacks. They've been sending them all of these things and keeping in contact with them. And you know, the kids, they want to be in school. They don't want to be at home. So them keeping in contact with their team, I think, is wonderful. And they do so many things. They meet once a week, and they just do all these things. So I wrote this whole story about it. So it's going to be published in both of the places that I sent it to. So I'm really excited about it. It's had some revisions since even your copy, and there's which I will get to Steve. But I'm just real proud of those team members that they took it upon themselves. We talked about it, and they decided, hey, let's start a student wellness team. And they have really gone with it. I helped with Welcome Money to fund a lot of their snacks and things, but they also now are talking about some retreats and hooking up with Wild and getting all these things together that we didn't have before. So that was what I wanted to tell you about the success story. And I think lastly, I already told you this, that we use Smart Source, Healthy Kids Colorado, our data source for this, videos and photos, attendance and discipline, climate surveys, and we also email the parents and let them know what we're doing with our wellness team. So I think it's a win-win situation, and they have more and more students that are interested in this. So that ends my presentation, but I just kind of wanted you to know what I do here. And I know I've showed up at some things, but I just wanted you to know that we have some really great things going on with our wellness in our schools, and I'm pretty proud of it. So thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Lily.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Just two comments for me. Julie,
Yes,
number one, congratulations on getting the grant. That's no small.
thank you. It was my first one I ever, well, you know, I was a PE teacher before and I got a tennis grant and I got I don't know, something else that was, oh, I got steps. Yes, and I got the scooter thing. So I had a little bit, but this is a whole different ballgame when you're talking $80,000. So I was so excited, like I was doing cartwheels right here that day that I got it because, you know, it's the dreaded call when they call you and it's like, and I've gotten a few of those because I tried to get a couple of other grants to go with this. And when you get the call that you didn't get it and you put in all that work, and you all know that, but I felt lucky that we got the 80,000 and I still have a few more irons in the fire. So,
Nice.
thank you.
So out of what feels good about what you're sharing, the being stuck at home seems to take a little bit of the wind out. So is there any, I don't know, online piece? I think of wellness and all. I'm trying to think what you've observed in your own kids or what being at home. And I'm like, is there a way we can package this and send this over? We're just hoping to be back.
We're hoping to be back. Yeah.
Oh,
man.
it's our best time because some of the things that you may not know that goes on, we have harvest of the month, so we do vegetables and I teach nutrition classes and we have snack making, so I show up at all the beginning of the school years and then at Summit's big thing that they have and I do healthy snacks. So there's a lot of things that is part of my job. So I'm dying to get back to my full job. Because writing grants is not really my most honest job. And so I would rather be in the schools with the kids, because that's where my heart is. But that's a great suggestion, and it's something that for me to think about, because who knows what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna have to be doing something to talk about wellness and with our students. So thank you for asking. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. All right.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, even if I can't hug you. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have is public comment. And we have three, if I understand this right, Kelly, these are three, okay, we have three comments that have come in, and they are all centering around the same topic, which is the music program. So to read these, I'm going to continue to face forward since nobody's in front of me, and I will read them one after the other. So the first comment is from a music parent, Lisa Pitts, and it's a question. Why are the music positions being combined down to one for each building to cover both band and choir? These are specialist positions and the programs are large enough that it is a great strain for just one person to handle. How is the board going to approach making sure there is adequate support for these positions? Why not just leave as has been with two separate positions in each building where they can help each other between buildings? That's the first one. The second is from Amy Wolin, who is also a parent of the district. To the members of the Woodland Park Board of Education, I hope you are well. This has been a trying yet hopeful time for all of us. To Woodland Park School District's credit, until yesterday, I was satisfied with the quality of information and education since the COVID-19 closures. Unfortunately, yesterday I felt blindsided by the information that the music programs at the high school and middle school will be reduced to one teacher at each school. I have seen this terrible idea come before the Board of Education about 3 to 4 years ago, and Dr. Bowman found the money to continue both choral and instrumental programs. Thank goodness, as the programs have very different needs and require a lot of time from both the teacher and the students. I remember from that meeting a full room of students and parents speaking up to support both programs. Directing both the bands and choirs is simply too much work for one person to do. Only the minimum will be done. The stress load on the teacher will be immense, and our students and teacher will suffer. I am concerned about the amount of support this new hire will have. Managing and teaching that many students in different programs is one thing to consider, but also in jeopardy is the professional development and mental health of a teacher for 2 programs. I see another revolving door situation here, and the teacher and the kids will suffer from that again too. Of course, bands and choirs have different needs, but they also have similar schedules. There are concerts, festivals, auditions for regional and national honors, and for 2 different programs. Our students' education, possibilities, and futures will be affected negatively if only one professional teacher is leading both the choir and band programs. The music program allows the kids to express emotions they don't have words for. One teacher for 2 different programs for a lot of students with so many different levels of needs and support is just not going to cut it. My child may not be gifted as far as the district is concerned. He didn't test into that label, but he does have a gift, and that is music and forensics. And as you consider having one person fulfill multiple job descriptions, please realize that this will probably limit our children's gifts. One person can only teach so much. Unfortunately, the lack of transparency has made this situation even worse. We are shocked as parents, and our children are devastated by the seemingly secretive way this was done. Some are even questioning what to do with their high school future. I have brought that to your attention before, but it is even more dire now. As a stakeholder in the district since 2002, I am extremely disappointed in the lack of transparency of this decision and process. I realize these are uncertain times, but I and many of the kids feel hurt, ignored, and devastated by how this was finally presented. How can we make decisions for our children's education? How can we be partners with you in education if we don't have the information? I realize the decision has already been made. Once again, lives have been changed. But I ask that you consider this possibility, having at least 3 positions, a music director in the high school, a music director in the middle school, and a 3rd person, a full-time assistant to the directors who would have to travel between the 2 buildings. This situation and idea is still far from ideal, but there has to be a better way to support our students. Music was and can still be a pillar of Woodland Park School District. Music has been valued for a long time by the district and community. Our beautiful auditorium is named for a fabulous teacher. We used to have a semi-truck to hold the marching band instruments. Let's remember where we came from and who we want to be. Let's notice that music is still valued by most of the world. If you look at what is bringing us together in this pandemic time, it's music that connects us and brings a bit of joy. We can do the right thing. I hope you find a better way to do just that. Thank you for considering my opinions and suggestions. Sincerely, Amy Woolen. And the 3rd comment is from Kayla Garcia, band director at Woodland Park Middle School. Good evening. My name is Kayla Garcia. I am the middle school band director at Woodland Park Middle School. I understand that we are encountering unprecedented times. If you had told me that I would be teaching instrumental music online, I would have called you a liar. I know that there are tough calls that are being made as the district cuts due to COVID, as the district looks at cuts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, there are some choices that are being made now that will cause more damage to beloved programs down the road. Before the stay-at-home order began, there were 4 secondary music educators that served our 2 secondary buildings. Today, there are only 2 of us. Currently, they are restructuring of the programs. This is fancy talk for cutting programs without saying it. When 6th grade programs like choir are reduced or taught by non-music certified staff, it will have a ripple effect that will reach the high school levels. Beloved programs like madrigal and musicals will no longer be possible because the correct skills will not be taught or were not taught correctly. Or were not taught correctly. This may not affect you now, but this will affect middle schoolers who will be told that I can no longer offer advanced programs in areas that they are passionate about. Less than 3 years ago, this district had groups from the secondary programs at state levels. Odyssey performed at the Colorado Music Educators Association State Conference. This is an honor that very few small town schools achieve. With everything that has been offered at the high school in just this last year, there is no way one director can take on everything. There is no transparency in what will change because when music programs are reduced from 2 directors to 1, something gets left behind. Music, just like so many of our electives, are special places for our students. They give our students outlets in a world that they don't yet understand. They are places where they feel safe and valued. I know that cuts have to be made, but please find another place other than our secondary music programs to make them. Thank you. That's Kayla Garcia, band director at the middle school. So since we're going to be talking side to side, let me put this back on. Okay. Before I have you address some of the changes that have been done, I will say there seems to be an impression that the changes are due to budget financial cuts and are due to the current COVID situation that's going on right now. I would like everyone to understand that there's a lot more that is going into this than just the current situation. And I know Steve will address that. We've had over the last 4 years, since we had the discussions that Amy addressed in her letter, we've had continual modifications in the programs until we have reached the point we're at now. I know if the folks that were involved in the discussions before, I know they're aware. One of my kids grew up through the music programs, grew up through the choir side, and so I am a very strong advocate of strong music programs, as I know the entire board is. So these decisions and the changes that are being made, we are very hopeful that they are the right things to help continue to build a strong music program. And with that, I'm going to let Steve talk about the changes that have been done and some of the reasons.
No, and actually, Amy, that third position, we were actually talking a little bit about that today. How do we maybe trade off some classified to maybe get a little more help? But the nice thing about it is we are going to offer everything we have offered in high school and some. We're actually adding a show choir. And so we're excited about that. We wish we still had someone's daughter hanging around, but she's got a baby and life is good for that. But we're going to be able to offer all that the same. We did get a hire for band and choir at the high school. We were looking at the possibility of several ones. We found a person who can do both very well. And we're excited about the growth of those programs. I would love to have it that we had so many people wanting to be involved in music that we would have to try to find some way to fund that. That being said, we are going to be down next year somewhere between $1 and $3 million. Wrap your head around that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And so if we can find a way to get that done and do it effectively and do it well and find a stud that can do that, the person we're bringing in actually is and I forget the name off the bat, but a graduate of here is excited about coming back and getting the programs rolling again, investing their lives in it and making it happen. And so I am pumped about that. One of the things that I'm excited about at the middle school band is, for some reason, we've had advanced and we've had intermediate, we've had beginning. And if you go to the high school band and ask how many of those kids were in an intermediate band, you won't see one hand going there. They were all in advance. All the intermediate kids quit. They don't continue. And so we're excited about moving that on. I would love to see 100. I was a little bitty school of 120 kids. We had 105 in band. Our music teacher did all band, he did choir, did everything else. We went to state, we had show choir, we did, it was amazing, but it's teacher driven. You can find amazing people. If we couldn't find it, we couldn't do it. We just couldn't. We'd have to find someone that was strong with one, strong with the other, and we were very fortunate. There are a lot of people out there. About half the band programs in Colorado will have one person doing both because of the size of the school. But then we look at our numbers, and we had 15 or fewer in marching band, and in a school our size, we have to increase that. We're excited about the opportunity to increase those numbers in band. You're looking at a huge music lover, so we're not going to let the thing die or go away. We just have to invest our dollars differently to make sure those things happen. And as far as being changing numbers of staff members, we change numbers of math teachers, English teachers, social studies teachers all the time. Rarely do we go to the parents and ask if it's okay if we change the number of math teachers, or we just don't. We do what we can to make the numbers work for us and make that happen. There's no sneaking around here. We just do what we have to do to make it work within our budget, to make sure that we have strong leaders in those programs and keep going. And occasionally, and I know we have a teacher here to put this in. I've not visited with this person about this at all, but we've and I'm hearing some things that they're going out there from former teacher or soon to be former teacher that are not the case. We're excited about moving forward and having strong programs, but that takes strong leaders in those programs, and we're excited about hiring those people. We've been searching. We found one. We'll find more. And we're looking at the possibility of doing just what Amy said. And, Yvonne and I were actually talking about that today. I talked to Kevin a little bit before this meeting, the same thing about combining that, making some of those things happen. But we are taking care of business for next year. And that's going to involve $1 to $3 million less than we've had this year. And so we're very fortunate we found a great person to come in and take that at the high school level. We'll likely be able to give that person some help, and the people at the middle school some help as well. I'm excited about having that middle school program being approved. We want to keep those numbers going. We're excited about music. We're still going to be offering our programs we have there. Still be able to do our specialized group, Odyssey and otherwise. Similar to what we do with our jazz band as well. So we're looking forward to keeping that going, and we just ask that people to support it. When we bring these teachers in, we need your support. Those teachers need you behind them. They don't need to be dragged through the mud from the moment they show up. So I hope our new band vocal teacher doesn't get wind of this, because they need to know that everyone's behind them, excited and thinking that they can do it, because they can do it the moment they show up in our school district. So it'd be like being a superintendent. Now, Jed may be a better guy to find that money, but this $1 to $3 million less is going to be a little kicker. But it's we just need people behind our people that we bring in. If as a new superintendent came in and said, he can't do the job, it's too much for him, I would have felt pretty bad about that. And so we're excited about bringing our folks in and getting going. And we're not done trying to get the music program more help, because we love what we do with music and we want to keep it going. We love what we do with drama. I think it's an unbelievable program. Our forensics is strong. What we had 90-some kids try out for forensics middle school last year. Those are programs we're excited about. But it's going to be a real challenge for all of us this not just next year, the year after and the year after that. How do we keep having strong programs? What I can say is meeting with the superintendents on a regular basis, sometimes a couple times a week with the area superintendents. There's a lot of cutting going on in different places. There's a couple districts, D11 otherwise have a specialized music program where they just have music teachers come in, or just fine arts people come in. That's great. They're able to do that because of the thousands and thousands of students they have. we're not at thousands of students. And I'll put up what our new band teacher and vocal teacher will do against what they're going to do any day. I just think with the strength of our kids and the strength of our teachers that we're bringing in, we're going to be fine. And so I'm looking forward to it.
So, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this because I do have I have history, and I think Beth and I were very involved in this 3 or 4 years ago. It's a very sensitive issue because we are, as you said, and I know you appreciate it, is that we are a music community, and we always have been for a long time. So this is a hot topic in the community, and we have a lot of kids that have come through our program very successfully. So when we look at cutting teachers in this area, we have seen this before, it hurts. It hurts our families because they want kids to have the opportunities in our school to continue to see the success. So just a couple questions, because I understand and I trust that we're looking at financials, and I understand we're in a tough situation right now with COVID and cuts. But given that the middle school band director wrote this letter, concerns me a little bit, and I just want to understand a little bit more.
Concerns me a lot.
Does Kayla, is she going to be the middle school band person, and she is going to be responsible for both band and vocal?
I don't think we're done with that yet. We're still looking to try to find a way to trade out some classified to be able to get some help there, so that person wouldn't be doing all of it. But that's what we're trying to do right now. So this is the cart from the horse.
Yeah, so that concerns me that she wrote this letter and hasn't been in agreement with this new position, if that is her role. So that's my number one concern, I guess, right now. Make sure that she gets on board, or something happens in terms of the transparency. Was she not involved in some of these decisions?
Right, and some of these decisions, they wouldn't be. When it comes to the cuts we're having to make to be able to get down, there isn't any, we haven't gone to a group of teachers and because no one wants their program.
No, and I understand that, but I also think, and Mayor, I don't want to bring up history, but I think it's important that the people that are teaching in these subjects are at least consulted and talked to about it before we make these decisions. So I guess I'm just going to throw out that concern. Because we've had history here, we've had a middle school teacher who had great ideas, and she's no longer with us and had a lot of success, but I'm concerned about the fact that I understand we have to make decisions, but it's nice to get input from these folks who are in it, right? They're the ones that are actually got their feet in here and they're working with our kids. So if they can't visualize the direction we're going, I would be concerned. It would be a red flag, or a yellow flag at least. So I just wanted to add that. And then I also wanted to know, is this truly numbers driven? So are we just not able to get enough kids participating in these programs to continue to staff?
It is certainly numbers driven. You look at the number of kids we had in band, for example. How many band teachers do you need in that situation? And so that was a concern, but also a school our size, that's about, having one person do both is fairly common for a school our size. Sometimes you're fortunate enough if the money's right, if you have the right people, and if you don't have the skill level, and a lot of times it comes down to the skill level of the person as well. If the person can't do that, then you have to find another person. All of those come into play.
I understand.
We really hadn't had the numbers, and it's something we had to consider to look at. Even if COVID hadn't happened, you have to be good stewards of your money, your time, and your efforts. We've had these teachers. We had those number of teachers, and look at our numbers. And so a lot of us is structure, and so there's a way. You've got to be out. You've got to recruit. You got to be out part of your program. You've got to you draw kids for programs, and so I think we were on our way with choir. I think choir was rolling between what we were doing at the middle school, got us started. And a lot of that is because we forced a lot of kids into it in sixth grade, whether they wanted to or not. And then at the high school, you look at our numbers there and look at the choirs that were happening. And so we want to keep that going, and we want to add to that. We're excited to have a show choir and adding that to it. We tried to do some symphony type things, but we didn't have the numbers. We didn't have anyone who would do it. And so, we end up with wind instruments and percussion. And so that's kind of like the wind symphony here that we have. And, if we were fortunate enough, I would love it to have where we had 100 kids in band and choir was knocking it out. And we just said, you know what, we've got to do something.
Yeah. And I think part of that is the grassroots part of it, really getting things on track at the middle school, because it's too late by the time they get to high school. There's too many other activities that pull kids away from music. And so, or they just have more options. So if they're not bought in middle school, there's a good chance they're not going to buy in high school. That's my personal opinion, but we've just seen that. So I'm supporting what you're doing. All I'm saying is the history is that this has been a music school district. And it's been and I just want to be careful that we're not going to impact, or we haven't given up on that, and that we are still going to grow the program. And by cutting, I just want to make sure that we're not pulling the legs out from underneath ourselves to be able to grow because of the situation we may put ourselves in. That's all I want to make sure we're not doing.
I hope it's a situation where we have to add at some point. Right now, if we could add them back in, we'd say, well, how big do you want your other classes? And that's part of our, we were even at the middle school at 30 in some of our classroom classes. And frankly, when I was teaching, sometimes my classes were as small as 30. It all depends what your culture is in your district and what you expect. Most people don't expect a lot more than 30 in the classroom. And so we're working on that. And I thought Amy Woolen, the idea was good.
Yeah.
No one's trying to hide anything. The only reason you may not see as much as me is because of the COVID thing. But if it's other than that, I'm trying to be around.
And I think part of that transparency issue comes from the fact that it got so much attention a few years back, that we did really, parents came in and talked, so it was more of a community.
Right.
Parents came in, so they were part of help, I guess not forcing that decision to change, but there was a change in the decision on staffing for that based on the input.
And the value of feedback. Just to have that say, maybe it doesn't change the decision, but, so I'm just curious, that's about the transparency. So tell us, what was the transparency?
The transparency is the same as any other positions that we have. We look at it, we look at our numbers and say how many kids enroll in it, and how many teachers do we need.
Right, in terms of community though. I mean, math teachers, that's kind of the basics, right? This is one of those passion things.
Yeah,
so I'm just curious.
We don't go out and ask for, we just don't.
Us as a board?
Well, actually, as a board, I have brought up to you guys before in a work session that I've done that with you guys. And I started that pretty early.
Yeah, and it was, I think I'm a little confused, with this, because from what I recall, the message was our choir program is full, and that choir program will stay. And potentially it was going to be whomever took in Danny's spot. And then it was the instrument program, we were looking at numbers, but now it looks like it's combined. So to me, that's confusing, because that's not exactly the message and the vision I thought that we were gonna head. So that's one thing. And then the other thing now I'm looking at, because now you have all the standards with the standard-based grading at the high school, and I'm thinking prep. So you have ladies ensemble, you have choir, you have madrigals, you have show choir. Now you've got this band, that band. You're looking at 8 or 9 preps, and they have to be standards-based grading, which I agree. This looks like it's going to be, my head's exploding with this idea. So that's another concern of mine, because that's a huge concern anyway of the community, is all of that piece. So those are two things, I think. And then you were talking numbers, and I understand numbers. So the band choir's down, or even, I mean, the band instrumental program is down. Maybe you can bring us the numbers at some point. Same thing with the choir numbers, what those look like. But I know we've had a strong choir because it doesn't start at 6th grade. It starts at 3rd, right? You've got every single school has a 3rd grade choir. And so I know that's why that is growing. And I know some of these schools, Columbine has violin, and they teach instruments as well on through like master's programs and so forth. I don't know what the other elementaries are doing. So they're still trying to grow that base. So the look at the numbers I think is important. So I'm a little confused as to this. I mean, this actually surprised me. And the second thing is you're talking, let's look at the numbers at the high school, and if we need to reduce a teacher, and this size high school would require this many teachers, but then you're also looking at who are the non-teachers and what does that number look like? How many principals does this person have? How many counselors and so forth? So if you're looking at number of teachers and we're looking at 1 to 3 million, then you're also looking at the number of non-teachers and what does that look like? So how driven are we going to be by that? Because I think if you're looking at that for one instance, you're looking at that for everything.
And we did look at it for everything. We made cuts early on the way. We're about 5 less staff at the high school next year.
Teachers or?
Teachers, and then we're in the process of narrowing down another position as well. So it's when you start cutting back, yeah, we can have as many music teachers as you want. Just tell me how many you want, and we'll just cut elsewhere.
Well, and that's just the thing, is what's the numbers look like, and
that's what
if you're playing the numbers of staff, then you're also playing the numbers of upper level.
And that's what we base it off of, is numbers. And so, and we found out a way we can make it work. And that's where we have to roll with it. And I realized music maybe, when you went and you decided to have the number of music teachers you had, you think, okay, we're going to explode. Well, look at your band numbers.
That may
Well, that's the
not
question.
necessarily be specifically related to having a staff member in that position. But, and I don't know the culture of that program, but my guess would be because the school was the same size when it had an enormous band.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's probably more of a, I don't know, I guess just a leadership. It really kind of boils down to that. And so I have a passion for this, just like a lot of you and a lot of the parents in this community. I have a history here in Woodland Park as an alum. And I can tell you that when I moved here as a sophomore, and people have asked me, like, who were some of the most influential teachers in your life? And I would say that Morton Dixon was one of them. And I could point to my experience in Woodland Park, specifically in the music department, as being a turning point for me as an individual, that I could look back and I could say, I probably would not be the same person I am today. Had it not been for the confidence that it built, had it not been for the community that it gave me that I was lacking, had it not been for a number of qualitative aspects of the program, that when I look back at the history, that this is a small district relative to some of the larger big city districts. And yet I don't remember, I've been away, there was a 10-year gap there where I wasn't directly involved in the community, but I can't remember a time when there wasn't two directors, one for choir and one for band. Even though it had a small number, and but I just want to advocate for the program in a way that that doesn't just sideline it as just another elective. I think that it offers so much for so many kids. And when you start to blend it in with the requirements for, just the workload to pull off these musicals, where you have these collaborative efforts between band and choir and drama. And then you've got all of the behind the scenes stuff that's happening with all of these other students. That's a large percentage of the student body that's engaged in something very positive that impacts the community, not just our school. And so I am a strong advocate for this. I think Amy's right. I think something's going to give. I don't think, at least in my mind, I don't think it's adequate, or at least, it just doesn't seem like we can be promoting that we're going to have an increase in these programs if we're going to bring someone in and they're going to be asked to do both. I think there is something that's going to give. So I don't think it's a strong selling point to say that we're going to build the programs yet. I think what we need to do is support whoever comes in and look at ways to continue to support them and hopefully add to the number of staff, at least at the support level, where they can do the job, because I know that it requires a tremendous amount, especially with all the travel, and you've got the different competitions, and you've got the different, madrigals, they go all over the place especially around the Christmas holidays. It's just like amazing to me, the amount of concerts that they do. That's gonna be impacted. And then I don't know, I just can't stop thinking about just how grateful I have been personally for the program here in Woodland Park. And that's going back some years. And I know that if I'm just one of the hundreds, if not thousands of students that have gone through this program, I know there's other stories like mine. So I just want to just state very directly that I'm for the music program, and I want to support whoever comes in to the best of our ability as a district.
And we are for our music programs. We're just trying to make this thing work.
Yeah, I understand.
And we had several hundred more kids in the high school when all those things were happening. And now we're 700 some students, and with the number of people we have, it's going to be a challenge for the new person. Now, I would love to be in a situation where we have to add 2 or 3. And have to try to find a way to do that. It's just a numbers game, and it's stopped becoming a game. Life is getting real now, and so it's a whole different animal we're going to deal with next year, guys.
So with that, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Well, I think I was just gonna mention on that transparency piece, I understand well the challenges, but man, I sure would love for us to be able to chime in as a board representing the community to say, hey, here's the big rocks, here's the small rocks, to help guide in those decisions of, hey, these we wanna protect as best we can. We're gonna have to give up some other things. It's just really hard, as a board to even respond, with decisions made versus, or now we'll at least offer what we can as feedback to say, oh, here's big rocks that we want to support. So anyway, but I'm with you. There's I'm cut the budget, and there's no meat, there's no fat.
It's hard to know which decisions you guys want to make on staffing and the ones you want me to make.
Well, we don't
No.
make a decision.
Yeah.
No. Feedback, Steve. We are the voice of the community to the district to help. Hey, I'm in a pickle here. I got $3 million to make up. What can you offer me as information to guide me in my decision making so that we can at least address this? Not that we're gonna have a magic wand. Anyway, we want to help.
I just want to bring up too that Steve, you were not here for the history behind this, so you can probably hear the passion in some of us. There are people in this administration that know very well that there was a lot of background to this music program, and so I would hope that all was brought up and taken into account. That's all. If there wasn't history, I think it would be not as critical, and we wouldn't be bringing you this feedback. But I think that we all feel and know the history behind our music program and some issues that they were pretty big issues a few years ago prior to you coming. So
no one's trying to hide anything. We aren't
No,
trying to.
I know you're not.
Transparency is not an issue.
Right.
And I take offense at that. And it's, we're just trying to do the best for kids and try to give them opportunity, music and otherwise. And so I would love to be known as music district. If you know me well enough in music, that would be.
Well, that's
been a
kind of
huge
where
part of my
we have
life.
been known, that's the thing. So
Yeah.
this is kind of breaking us away from that, and I think we're all feeling that, and the community's feeling that.
Right.
And
So,
with the changing of the structure of the positions, and it does, at face value, it takes away, but I think, Chris, both you said it, and I know you said it, Steve, a big piece to this, to ensuring that we have the strong programs, is the leadership of it. And that has been sorely lacking at the high school since before we had the big discussion last time. We've been searching since the last round of this 4 years ago for that leadership in the band department, and we haven't found it. I think Steve sounds very excited about the single hire that we've come on that end, on the leadership in both directions. So I'm hoping, and I know that's what your hope is.
And you never know.
You don't, you absolutely don't, but we do need to keep a close eye on that. And I do think that, I know that a lot of thought went into the decision, and it wasn't just numbers and it wasn't just money. I know that. But I think the thing that you should be hearing from all of us is that as we move forward in this, is to keep in mind the strong music tradition of the district and of the community, because that is community and district. It ties into a lot of what our identity has been for years in this district, as well as the concern with the amount of effort, especially at the high school level, for a single person to be able to manage both programs, and as far as the welfare of the teachers. So I'm very pleased to know that you're already working on that third person to be able to split between the two programs, because I do believe it will alleviate some of that and hopefully help us continue to look for and help develop that leadership at both levels.
Is there still thought of the halftime, whatever, I think it's the band, is the band numbers the ones that are fairly low?
Yes.
So a halftime band at the high school, halftime band at the middle school, is that still an option?
You know, we actually looked at
I mean, I
that.
know you said it was hard to split one person because of schedule,
You can,
but
you can. I think we're looking at that, and we tried as much as we possible to have them be part of that team, try to stay.
Mhm.
The other part about that, this morning I was visiting with Mr. Dixon, and I asked him, because I don't know how much these people have spent much time with him. But when I came in, I started trying to spend time with everybody to learn. And I asked him specifically to be able to get together with our music folks so he can explain to them the history and the culture about where it wants to go. And he said, sure. And that was just this morning. And so I don't know if that's been done with our other music teachers. Well, one of them, your daughter was under him, right?
Yeah, well, no.
But she
She,
definitely knew who he was because Dad was.
because she allowed herself to be kind of under his tutelage at some level, you know, and
Yeah.
really respected him.
the new hire, he was
Yeah,
here
he-
when I was here, and Morton was here when I was here, so.
So I'm excited about having alumni come back and do these. And guys, this may be a 1 year, I'm hoping I like having two of each. We really do. And please know that. I would love it to be the numbers where having two in each place isn't enough. We got to keep going. I would love that personally, because that's not quite where we are right now. And that's why when I talked to Mr. Dixon this morning, and when I bright and early, and to be able, to ask him to spend time with our new people, to explain to them the culture, where we work, how he works. So, and if the new guy knows him already, that's going to be more exciting. And people will add in the future, because I anticipate we'll add different teachers as we go along.
And Steve, you're so well connected, not being here that long. And I just wanted to say, the other thing we may want to tap into is we have a lot of people in this community that are very musically talented. They may want to step up and help out, with some of these programs. I mean, really we need to reach out to them and say, here's where we are, but yeah, if you guys can help with the madrigals or help with, when we put our shows on, maybe they would like to come into the school and take more of a role and really have more of a volunteer group that's supporting our music program.
For an
Make it a
example
little
of
more
that
formal.
would be Amy's husband. He jumped in and helped us with the jazz band when we needed it, and so appreciate that. With the people, I've met a couple through being with the symphony that are graduates of here that want to come back and help. They'd like to even maybe work here or maybe even work part-time, but I'm thinking about that third thing, to be able to do that. So those are people we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
And to be able to, and I'm very fortunate that I have gotten to know some of those people, to be able to tie into that. And but a lot of it is just that culture that we had back when Mr. Dixon was here. Is we need him to share that. He's a Hall of Famer. And I need him engaged with those people, and he said he would do it.
That's great. Maybe he can start this new
Yeah.
support group.
Definitely. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I need him to be behind my teachers and to help them, and that'll be key for us. And
Well,
so-
I do think that, I know that people are upset about some of this, but I can't imagine that anyone that supports music is not going to support this new teacher. So I don't think I'm not concerned about that. I think that
right.
person is going to get a ton of support from the community and from everyone involved, so.
But if they're on social media at all, and they see some of these people throwing that stuff out on social media,
Yeah.
it's not doing us any favors.
No,
It's not picking on the person, it's pointing out.
Yeah, unless you're that person.
Well, point that person.
Yeah.
That person's being asked to do a lot, Steve.
Yeah,
I mean, back to their involvement in this process.
Yeah.
I hope we had to sit down and talk and say, oh, by the way, the position you signed up for has 10 things on the list, not 6.
he's actually doing that in the district he's in.
That's the balance act of relating to them and relating to the community. This leadership, spot on. That thank you for not saying it was, kids aren't interested in music. That was last round's just chat.
That's not the case.
That is not gonna help us.
That's not the case. If you spend any time in our musicals, you go to our choir concerts, they're there. I see in the middle school, tons of band members. And they come here, but unfortunately, they're kind of divided up where the lower ones don't continue. They're considered lower, but they don't have to be considered lower. There's a lot of late bloomers in life. And our high scorer, my basketball team in high school, my senior year, was not on the varsity his junior year. And, yeah.
Well, the cool thing for those kids, that might be their one opportunity. Maybe it was just 6th grade band or 7th grade. But they had the taste, they had the touch. And not everybody has to be Michael Jordan. It can just be, I played middle school. That was a good experience.
Yep. And
So I hope we embrace those things despite the heart math.
no, we want our numbers to go and grow. And it's a combination. We kind of have the perfect storm. And Gwen, I'm sorry if I didn't come across.
That's okay, I was just, this is not what I was.
Yeah, I think we were looking at, and I remember part of that conversation, and I think we're thinking about 2 or 3 different things at a time, and then it really hit the fan. And so then we have to really be careful with.
So in terms of hitting the fan, what hit the fan?
The fan is,
It is the money cuts coming due to COVID.
Okay.
I mean, that is a factor, but these discussions, what I said at the beginning,
it was
we
before.
had discussions about what was going on and with the sizes and with the changes that were occurring at the high school level, the high potential that we were gonna lose our choir teacher, which we did. So that's where the comments at the beginning is it wasn't just the COVID effect, but this is a portion of the COVID effect.
We probably, since our choir teacher left, and our guest teacher was also awesome, fell in love. And,
I guess we thought for sure.
And we probably would have done something different. We would have cut that person, that position, to make that happen. It's just that when you have every position we have right now, we've decided that any parent, anything we have, we come back on Monday morning and we say, can we live without this? Is there a way we can do that? That's what we're doing right now. And so we had to change.
Well, and the other key that I'm hearing is the person that is hired in is currently teaching both in another district.
Right.
And is excited to come here and teach both.
Right.
At where he graduated high school from. To me, you can't get any better than that unless we had 2 high school graduates from here, one in choir and one in band, that wanted to come back here and teach each program. To me, that's the potential leadership to be able to get this turned back around where we have both strong and both.
And this is not long term.
Yeah.
This, I anticipate this will turn, financial situation will turn. I'll talk about that a little in my superintendent report. And then our numbers will turn. And in particular in band, I just think there'll be some good things happen. And so I'm excited about it. And next year is going to be difficult in a lot of situations. The way we do business is going to change. The things we're going to have to offer and do are completely different next year than what we did last year. We aren't going to come back and be able to replicate what we did last year because that won't work. And so we're in the process of working on those things. And that was a conversation I had today with several superintendents is how education made a shift, and we right in the middle of this thing. And the way we do business never be the same. It'll look a whole lot more like what the colleges are doing with virtual and otherwise. And Stacy and I are getting together to make a video to talk about just that, to start getting out to people and say, we're going to offer different things. Share with us, what you need, what you'd like to have, and it just can't be just this and what we've shifted to, and just Marzano, and just it can't. And so we're going to grow beyond that, and it's going to be some growing pains. We're going to do some things really awesome, or we're going to do some things we really wish we would have done, and in that process. And so this is not. I don't see this as a long-term situation at all. I think this guy could come in and do it for 2 or 3 years, and then he will. We don't want to run the horse into the dirt.
So with that thought, I have this idea that part of supporting him as a leader then and creating some headroom for him to grow and to develop into this position that might last longer than a year or 2 or 3, but might be a legendary move. I would just offer that as best we can to really hear from him what his desire for the program is, as opposed to kind of imposing a history or a notion of what we think would be best. I think, he has experience, he has, no doubt he has vision. And to be quite frank, he has a program that is in need of restructuring and building and cultivating that may take some time, if not years. And so I think to set the tone, to give him voice, to be able to dream and discover together with the administration, what is it going to look like moving forward? If it is going to be different, if it's going to be unlike it's ever been before, then I think it would, I know from a leadership standpoint, it would probably do him wonders to have an opportunity to weigh in and to dream with the administration, as opposed to be told, hey, we're going to add this program and this program so that we can say we're offering more. That may not be what's needed. Less may be more initially.
Yeah, and a lot of that, and they'll get an opportunity for that input. I just, we have a strong tradition. I want them to know what the tradition is. And he lived it and come back and to make sure you build those relationships with those people. Mr. Will, Mrs. Kaiser, those people, my music teachers had a huge impact on me. And it's something I've been able to do the rest of my life. Maybe not well, but I've been able to do it. I can sit around and drive my wife crazy with my guitar, sing my John Denver songs, and get that out of your mind. And then, or like trombone or whatever it is. All those things make a difference. I think about the area of the country you're from, Corbin, and I know that very well. And that thing was, yeah, and how huge that is. And it's
Leadership.
yeah, there's the people you had. And if you, and can't be a principal leader, it's got to be music people. Principal can love music like crazy, so can the superintendent, but it won't matter unless you have someone who's down there. And I'm thankful for Danny because she really started. I think she had some things going, and then she handed it off to a guest teacher who did some really good stuff. And I think we can keep going here. We had to come up with some classes because they weren't full. I mean, all of a sudden we're doing piano and guitar and all kinds of things that we had never done before. But and some of those things, and the piano was pretty full because any kid that needed a class that we had to put them in, needed a place to go, all of a sudden you are now a piano player. And it was good for them actually, but that's how we made sure those things were full. And so we're going to move forward. I appreciate Amy's comments on that because we're not done. We're going to have other switches. We're going to have, stuff happen at the middle school. We're going to have stuff happen around it, and we'll make some of those transitions and changes and try to get back to where we were. I'd really like to get past where we were to go beyond that if we could, but the life has changed.
It definitely has, and thank you, Chris, for that, because him coming in, I think his voice at the high school level specifically, but also we need to garner the voice of the music director at the middle school as well, and how that can grow, and that she can be a part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I just want to add that I strongly agree with Chris's opinion there. We've made mistakes in the past where we probably should have listened to some ideas and vision from music teachers who that's a passion. It's not an elective. I mean, it's a way of life. And so I think that we need to give them some input, let them have some input. So I appreciate that comment.
all right, so and I would like to thank the three for the comments that came in this evening. As everyone can see, it garnered a very good discussion. So more to follow. All right.
Won't be our last controversial thing we have to get to.
Definitely not. Public comment is finished. The next thing we have is the consent calendar. I need a motion to approve the consent calendar. Second.
Austin.
Aye.
Dottie.
Aye.
Graver.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Leckie.
Aye.
Okay, information items. We have legislative update.
All right, and guys, if you don't mind, I'd like to combine these legislative superintendent on this because some of them kind of go together. The recognition piece on this is our folks have jumped into a situation. Everybody's a first year teacher, and they're working hard and doing their best. My feeling is they work so hard, and right now they're hitting that wall. And so we're just cheering on through to get through this last week or two to get through. And we are looking at next fall, but we're anticipating we're going to be back here with kids, not otherwise. And so we're heading that direction. We'll be prepared. If we have to spend some other time, and we'll communicate well with that. But these folks have been wonderful, and as you can see here where I wrote about it, it's wonderful. By the way. I'll send these cards around. There's a few of them, and there was a ton of emails and stuff with people who visited about putting those certificates out for all our staff during this last week. And we sent all those out with a little note, and it's from here at the district office and the board, and so I didn't want to forward every email to you and otherwise, but there's a lot of thank yous, and a few of them wrote cards. Most of us are digital people nowadays, but and I appreciate that. So we're trying to keep them boosted up and keep going, and our parents keep going because that's hard as well. And especially if you got kids at different levels, it's just really, really tough. And you see some of the upcoming dates. So one of the things we have here coming up pretty quick is graduation. We've been working since we stopped brick and mortar on how to do this. Finally, we have the county to agree with us on how we want to get that done. We got to remember, Teller County is different than a lot of other places, and we know that. And so our county is behind us. Last night I met with the reopening city group. They were behind us. That includes the mayor. That includes everybody else that's kind of around that's going to help us get it going again. We're excited about the possibility, and our plan is they have kind of 3 groups of 50 out there on the field, and 10 feet apart, just the kids. They're going to have a little mask that talked about that's Willow Park High School 2020, and on their mask, and come by and be able to get their diploma cover, like we would hand them a diploma cover, at other places, and celebrate that. And then we're going to be planning on having a car parade that will come out and go down Rampart and then Kelly, and visit a little bit with Miles today, and he's giving you guys some vacations and everything else to be able to be a part of that. The sheriff's department said they would be more willing to help as well, and they're excited about it. They have a really good plan. We even purchased a couple of those things to be able to measure people's temperature on the way in, and to be able to make sure that we're as safe as possible and still be able to do something live. We're taping speeches Friday, and so we'll have all those ready to go and kick out. And so, I was visiting with some people today. It's like I'm all the time talking to people online and otherwise. That today was very busy, but our seniors may look back and think, we didn't get that thing downtown walking across the stage with everybody there, but what we had was pretty special. And so we're trying to make that as special as possible. And so I really appreciate everybody's efforts. That the county support. The governor maybe not be right on the ball and wanting us to do this, but he had lived here, and so we're going to be okay, and we'll get it going and get it done. And I appreciate his efforts, by the way, too. I was listening to him tonight, the things that he was doing, and he was in DC today and back, and all of it's hard decisions. Jackie Revelo has been taking a lot of heat, and bless her heart, it's a hard job, and not every decision you make, everything's going to be perfect, but we've worked on that. So anyway, thanks for recognition. 2021 budget. We figured this year at the beginning, before all hit the fan, we might be down $874,000 because of the lack of funds. And then today's report came out, and we're going to be down a lot. The preliminary budget Brian will bring into you guys won't mean a whole lot. We're going to have to redo it because the legislature won't be through. They aren't even back yet. The JBC, the Joint Budget Committee, are doing some things together and trying to come up. But the warnings we're getting are significant. And unless we get some help federally to be able to come in, we're going to get a little federally, but it ain't going to be much. It's like a couple $100,000 so far. Unless we get a lot more, it's going to be. We've saved money for rainy days. It's raining, and so. Our goal is, we don't cut anybody's salary. People get mortgages and buy cars and plan on food based on the amount of money we tell them they're going to make. And they don't think the next year they're going to make less. And so we're trying to hold that the same. Right now, part of it, they have almost a natural cut in that they were going to have to pitch more into the public employees retirement system. And we are going to have to pitch in a whole lot more as well. We heard an inkling today they may wait a year or so on that, because I hope they do, because that's another like 1.2% out of the salary. That sure, they'll get it back when they retire, but that doesn't put hamburger on the plate tomorrow. And so we we're hoping that they do something there. And so we're being extremely careful on our staffing. This music thing won't be the last complaint you get on staffing, because we're going to have to do something. That's where most of our money lies. And whether it be, we're looking at admin too, and we're looking at all the positions. Anytime we have an opening, what do we need to do? Do we need that position? I'll give you an example. Ryan Schultz's wife got a job that he's following her to up north of Morgan or someplace. So he'll be leaving. Well, that's that position in the library. What do we do with it? Well, we're not going to fill that with a certified person this next year. We're going to do something different. We may come back to that when the money's right, but we're not next year. Every position like that we're looking at and being very careful in trying to stretch the money we've saved. We will spend next year more than we bring in, but we save money so we can do that, so we can help people, still give our kids a quality experience. Our kids aren't going to run around with this sign that says "Take it easy on me. I lived through COVID." We've got to keep it going. So we are. Tabor is not helping us in this situation, but there is some talk of legislators. Part of that Tabor amendment said that had a caveat that taxes can be increased in an emergency, but it can't be a financial fiscal emergency. It has to be some devastating thing, like let's say a pandemic. And so they're actually starting to look at that. Do we do something different there? Where that money comes from, I'm not sure. You're going to take it from salaries, because salaries aren't out there. Where you're going to take it from, but they are looking at it. I mean, you could really go to everybody that makes more than $400,000 a year, take a percentage, and you could really. They were looking at the possibility of like $700 million extra dollars just using those people, and but that talk is out there, and on Tabor, I don't know if it'll come around, but there's a possibility. There's also a couple other bills that kind of circumvent that as well. They realize that is not helping us in the pandemic situation. In all likelihood, our world has changed enough that it may not be our last one. And so, yes.
These are kind of the state picture. I'm just curious with the local sort of sales tax. Any feedback?
Yeah, we do have some feedback. We're doing okay with sales tax. Thanks to Walmart and the grocery stores, and if you've ever been by the lumberyard, that parking lot is always full. People are having time to do the honeydews right now, and so sales tax wise, we're not going to take a huge hit on that. And where we may take a hit may deal with this vendor tax thing I was telling you about. The Main Street group met the night before last, and that was not pretty. They only had one thing on their agenda, and that was to listen to Gail Gross talk about SOAR, about some of the neat things they're doing there. And the next thing you know, there was a move to approve the DDA's proposal for vendor tax fee, and it wasn't even on the agenda. And what bothered me, and I wrote it here, is that there was a former city council members on there, but we had our senior banker in our bank that handles our money vote to take $83,000 away from us, and that's troublesome. We need to address that, and we're going to, and so but it was a 3-2 vote. There was only 5 people there, and there was usually a lot more than that, and so they had a former council member and a senior banker, and even the chair of that committee said, listen, even the state group says this is not appropriate for us to address, but it didn't matter, they did anyway. And it was not on the agenda or anything, and they made the motion. But they don't make the decision, the city council does. And I had an opportunity to share with the DDA and some city council members the impact it will have on us. I think one of the things we talked about is not getting that fray, and so I shared with them the details about how the impact it would have on us, and then I left the meeting. And I think they should understand in this situation where we're going to be down to $1 to $3 million. We thought at first maybe 874. It's probably closer to $2 million before everything's said and done. But taking another 80-some thousand from us at this point is not a great idea. I don't think it's a terrible idea, honestly, down the road when things are going well. I think there is a case for that for the businesses. Now is not the time. And so, I don't want to take that thought from them because that exists in at least half the state. And there's a reason behind it. I don't want to take all the time to explain that, but now is not the time to be able to do that. And so that was very frustrating.
Steve,
So
I
any-
have one question on
Yes.
that, and I apologize because I don't really understand a lot about the vendor tax. I just have one question about it. Is there any way that vendor tax can be split between small businesses and the Walmarts and the bigger businesses so that the small businesses would get the break, but the bigger businesses would not? Because
That's the question I had, because Walmart's not asking for it. Andrew, the manager, he's a wonderful guy. They're just doing great things. That would make Walmart richer. If Walmart doesn't have this, they're gonna make it. They're financially, the grocery stores are having a boom year. That would be even more money for them, because that's because about 30 to 33% of our sales tax, and maybe more than that now, comes from Walmart. Then there's about that same percentage comes from the grocery stores and perhaps the lumberyard. And then the small percentage is everybody
So
else.
I don't know if it's an all or nothing, or I just was wondering.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I don't think you can.
I would think that the people that are looking for this would have thought of that, but this seems like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know that there's a lot of care in that.
Is there even, has that been discussed? at that level?
Yeah, I asked about that, but I didn't really get an answer. But I don't think you probably can. I don't think there would be great support if you ask the people that pay the most taxes in Walmart. Their regional managers may say, "Oh yeah, support that. We'll get more money." But realistically, Andrew didn't do that. They're fine.
Right,
grocery
the
stores don't do
goal
that.
of this is to help our small businesses and the
Right.
community. I think we all want to support the small businesses, but if it can be a win-win and it won't hurt us as much, or, the people that get income from this, then it seems to me that would be a better solution.
I visited with a significant business down on Main Street about this, and it would save them about $2,000 a year. Which great, that's fine, but it's one of the larger small businesses that I visited with. And actually most of those tax dollars don't come from our community. And so it's really interesting, and then part of that is the business tax, the business fee as well, business license that you have to buy. They wanted to cut that out. Well, that's the troublesome part of that is then anybody can just show up and start a business, and you can't, and it may not be anything that you should have or be there or do, or and if you don't have something there, and the fee is not very large anyway, but so I can see where they're trying to help these folks, but in the long run it'll hurt, because it takes money from most of the money that we spend is spent local, and so that, which is through salaries, and they come out here. When I was sending out addresses and to send out the letters of little certificates, and I was noticing addresses, a whole lot more people that live in our school district than I was aware of. And there weren't near as many as I thought, and I was very pleased about that. I had the wrong vision for that, although I want everybody to live here. It was a wake-up call for me when I was doing that. So, last thing I have here though is the transportation thing, and we were excited. We worked on that, Dale and Brian, and worked with our transportation company, and we finally came with it. They found out that almost did some research. All their drivers are on unemployment and doing well, and most of them, that isn't their main thing. They're retired. That's just kind of extra money for them anyway. And so they're good. They said they're coming back, and so we thought of $1 that we would be able to pay per day to be able to make that, and they came back with a lot less. And we said, okay. And so we're able to, any dollar we can carry over this year is great. And so we're carrying over as much as we can. And we still want to be able to, do good things for our people. And so Durham helped us in that situation in the long run. I'm glad we didn't sign their first offer because that would have been ridiculous. And but they worked with us and we're good.
So what kind of feedback have you gotten from the parents on graduation? I know you've worked extensively with kids.
Yeah, pretty strong. Parents have communicated pretty well with me too.
Good.
And they like what, they understand what we're trying to do. Naturally, they'd like to be there and the whole thing. What I'd really like to do is have them on the field too with the kid, and that's really what they're sequestered together anyway. And that's what I'd really like to do, but that's just a step too far than what they're ready for. And so I think people are pleased the kids be able to do that. We're going to be able to, with the money we spent in the past on the building down the hill, we spent on a professional company to come in to do all the videos and everything. So it's going to be a top quality production. And so, starting with Friday, so we're excited about being able to do some good things. The ceremony will last probably an hour and a half because we're going to have some kids talk and we're looking forward to it.
Do we have a rain date? I hate to say that, but I just.
No, I've thought about that. No, we don't, and it may involve umbrellas, but we don't. And I've thought about it. Maybe we're not terribly bright in that situation because I know there's a couple other districts do have a rain date.
Well, the problem is it's the 5 p.m. Like it maybe should be at 10 a.m.
Yeah, on a Friday, that's not a bad idea.
Showers.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, we're sweating a little bit. Think about last year; it was so beautiful that day.
Hopefully it will.
So we're counting on that again. And what else could go wrong? But we do have a deal.
Since I said that.
Yeah, that they would go under the cars, and so it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll never have to do that again.
Hey, who knows? I've always said it'd be cool if we could graduate right out here on our. So maybe we'll start a new thing.
I am excited about that. I would love to be able to continue that. Because if you had those stands full, and we brought in maybe grab some bleachers from the rodeo or whatever, and we set those things up and then allow people to stand around the edges like they would want to anyway, and have our kids up, I think we can pull it off. And, that's what I really like.
We just need to put turf out there.
No, you're speaking Joe's language. Yeah. Because we have money to, actually, it isn't as expensive as we thought it was, but probably not for right away.
All right, any other questions on the legislative report that was combined with the superintendent's report? All right. So the next thing we have is the board action items. We've got the resolution for non-renewal of contract. I hope that's my pink sticky. Yes. Okay. So this is the resolution for non-renewal of contract.
Oh, just a minute. Before you do that, when you look down here on that renewal, the top name on the certified, if you could scratch through that.
Okay.
You did? Okay, mine was not. Okay, good, okay.
Yes, ours is done.
Good deal, okay, thank you.
Okay. Whereas the Board of Education of the Woodland Park School District has reviewed the status of each teacher on the non-renewal list and has duly considered the matter of reemployment of said teachers for the 2020-2021 school year, now therefore be it resolved that each teacher on the non-renewal list is not be offered a contract for the 2020-2021 school year, and be it further resolved that the superintendent of schools or his designee is hereby directed to give timely written notice of said non-renewal to the teachers. I need a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Austin.
Aye.
Dottie. Graver.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Lecky.
Right.
And then, so the last thing we have, do any of the, any board members have any reports, any information? Okay. So with that, before we adjourn, I would like to thank, not only the administration, but specifically, all the staff of the teachers for all of the hard work that has gone into the last couple of months. I mean, and not just the last couple of months, always, and we know that, but we do know that things have kind of been upended over the last couple of months, and we greatly appreciate all of the efforts that are going on across the district by everybody. So just wanted to say thank you. And if no one has anything else, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well, empathy for graduate, or just seniors. Oh, third basket upset. Have you guys heard about the,
Did you cut
Tina has to come in and do it. I'm trying to click on end stream and it's not going to find it.
Oh, your pen?
I was trying to end stream it and it doesn't click.
You guys want to turn your mics off?